did it. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you enjoyed that little clip at the beginning. Long story short, after I get back in the seat, get the boxes back into the ship, and I was able to make my 60K of cargo there. And last time we did a video about Star Citizen, I have to admit I was not very forgiving to the game. I was very critical, and I've been playing a lot of 3.9.1, and I've had a little bit of a change of heart, and I wanted to discuss that as we watch some of this mission gameplay where I've teamed up with a couple players and we are doing claim jumper missions in a hammerhead. So here we are, we're at the claim jumper mission, and we're starting to shoot at sentries, and any veteran player is going to look at that little red circle and realize that that thing is way out of range and I'm never going to hit it. I eventually learned that, but not at any point during this mission. What I wanted to focus on, though, is for me, this was my first real opportunity to do a real multiplayer mission where we're all in the same ship, and we're sharing a common objective, and we're all working on this mission together. And for me, this was actually a pretty big thrill. I've played Destiny 2, and one of the most fun things I've ever done in a video game was participating in a raid where you've got a team of 6 people and you're all coordinated, working together, you're on comms, and you're working things out. In this case, it was a very similar experience. You can see all those red triangles in the bottom left of my screen, showing where all the turrets are pointed. We're all firing at these targets, we're all working together, and we do clear this mission. We'd go on to do several of these that night, and we got progressively faster, and I eventually learned to not waste my bullets shooting at things that are out of range. But this really kind of woke inside me that fun that you can have when you're working with a coordinated team. In this next clip here, I finally get to pilot the Anvil Carrack, and this is a ship that had been advertised on the Robert Space Industries page for a long time. And this is honestly one of the ships that I was most excited to fly when I became a backer. Just this massive exploration ship. It looked big. It kind of gives you this TIE fighter feel combined with like the classic Republic gunships and troop transports. I mean, it just evoked everything that I wanted in a classic spaceship. And during the Fleet Week, I got to fly this. And so here I am hooking up with the same people that we were in the Hammerhead, and now I get to pilot this Carrack, and we're doing some more claim jumper missions. This was so much fun for me. I can't get over how cool it was to be able to fly this ship. And to CIG's credit, they have gotten so much better at designing these ships. I remember having a horrible experience way back in the day trying to walk around a Starfarer and just never finding the things that I wanted to. The Starfarer definitely needs a rework, but you can tell that as they've gotten more experience designing these ships, they've taken feedback from the players and they've made these make a lot more sense as far as their layout goes. And it really shows in a ship like the Carrack, where you have a double-loaded corridor going down the center. Elevator placement makes sense. It's easy to get to the cargo hold. It's easy to find the entrance. It's a huge step above a lot of the older multiplayer ships that we've had, like the Starfarer. I think it's the Reclaimer is the big salvage one that was in for a while, and I haven't seen any of them for a while now. So anyways, hats off to you, CIG. Ships look a lot better now. Thanks for working out the layout issues.
Get focused. Got unknown contacts heading your way.
I just want to take a minute to appreciate how cool this scene looks. We're supposed to eliminate these hostiles, flying the Carrack. Got the turrets loaded up. I think we had a couple, maybe one or two turrets, like the top and bottom, that were not full. But just look at the engine glow, blasters going off on all sides. I'm by no means a great Carrack pilot. This was my first time, and I think we actually died during the first mission. But we had a lot of time. We had a great time trying this out, and just being able to pilot a ship this large and feel how it feels weighty. It doesn't fly like the way my Cutlass is usually drifting around, and you can see that these Cutlasses, they're pretty hard to keep in focus as I'm trying to turn this massive ship around. I had a lot of fun during this play session, and I spent way too many hours afterwards playing this game, and it's just been a real delight. In my previous video, I was very critical over the fact that they seem to be adding a lot of features and not focusing on stability. So that's kind of what I want to address with the next little clip here. I still stand by my thinking that stability is very important if you're trying to get players on board. One of the issues experienced by CIG during this Fleet Week is there was a lot of players who were not able to participate in Fleet Week due to various server issues. There was a lot of 30Ks. Apparently, a lot of players in the European servers were never able to log on, and various other server issues made it so that a lot of players who may have potentially pledged money to this game did not do so because they didn't have a great experience. So stability is still a very important issue to address when we're talking about Star Citizen. But having read some of the developer posts, I'm willing to admit that maybe it's not as important for it to be as front and center as I would like it to be. And so long as they are trying to round out the game and get all the major features that they're working on in there, then they can make it all work better when it's all put together. That said, I'm happy to say that in this alpha we're getting to a point where it is actually a game that you can play. And there's several gameplay loops that you can go through. Trading is not in a good spot right now because of all the 30K issues, and you never know if you're just going to lose all your cargo due to the server crashing. But trading is in the game, right? There's also a slew of combat missions like the one that we're doing right now, where you can take it on as an individual, you can take it on as a crew, and they have missions built up for different sets of people, and different amounts, I should say. And so there is a lot in the game that is fleshed out pretty well, and you can spend hours and hours playing this game. Tons of people do that on the daily. And they're starting to push towards persistence, which means that you're not going to lose all of your hard-earned progress in between patches. There's actually something to be able to work towards. You can work towards getting a bigger ship, and you can work towards just making tons of money. I mean, they have goals now, and with persistence being in the game, it's a lot easier to convince yourself to spend time working towards these things because you're not just going to lose it when the next big patch comes. I also want to just point out, yes, I know that I am not a great Carrack pilot. We eventually fail this mission because we lose our shields, and if any of you people don't know, apparently, I would learn this later, the Carrack suffers from having shields with a very slow time before it starts to recharge. And so if you're going to try and just tank it out, you need to make sure that you go in with full shields. And the mistake that I make in between these different sections is we just go straight towards the next one. I don't give the shields time enough to recharge, and so we go in with like half shields, and then we just get blown up. So case in point, I am not a great pilot. I would learn a lot about the Carrack and shield systems and how to manage them after this mission was over and after Fleet Week, unfortunately. But that also kind of ties into what I was saying just a minute before. There's enough systems in place for the game that you can actually have quite a bit of fun managing your resources. If you're flying a ship with ballistic weapons, you need to watch your ammo count. And ballistics are the best option for taking targets out quickly because you get to do damage immediately and punch through shields. But you don't get to be holding out for super extended firefights. This mission would probably be very tough to do with just ballistics, given that if you're missing a lot or if you're spending too much time, you're just going to run out of ammo, and then there's nothing else that you can do. In this case, with the Carrack, I should have been paying more attention to the shield health and balancing those and watching the overheat meters and really kind of just doing the captain duties while my crew focuses on blasting stuff. And I think what I was doing is I was focusing a little too much on trying to make absolutely sure that their targets were in frame versus managing the resources that I didn't quite yet know that I had. All of this to say, Star Citizen is making a ton of progress. It's definitely a lot better than when I last reviewed it. There's some solid gameplay loops that players can repeat endlessly, and I actually find it really cathartic to just do endless trade runs. I know that sounds like so boring compared to all the other things that are there, like combat and all these other different mission types, but it's super relaxing actually to just do these trade missions. And they've definitely made the quantum speeds faster, I feel like, because I don't feel like I'm spending so much time just watching paint streaks across the screen. And that's a good thing. Anyways, Star Citizen, it's getting a lot better. It's a great looking game. It's very pretty. The atmosphere provided by these different planet types. Here I'm on this really cold planet, and the effects that it puts on your screen where your visor starts to frost up like we see there, it's beautiful. There's no other game that has this attention to detail paid to it, and when it's all said and done, that attention to detail is what makes Star Citizen special. It's not just a flight simulator. It's not just an FPS. It's all of that put together in not the most cohesive way right now, but in a way that does work, and it's a lot of fun to play through. You feel like you can do just about anything in this game, and what the developers are trying to do is give you the tools to do so and make it a beautiful environment for you to enjoy while doing it. A few things I'm excited for in Star Citizen's future. I think first and foremost is the cloud tech that they are talking about. We're going to see nebulas surrounding the various rest and relax stations that we see dotted around the verse. We're going to see more dynamic clouds on the planet's surfaces. This is going to greatly enhance the atmosphere provided by each planet themselves and make these locations truly cinematic to discover, land on, explore. I'm also excited for the turret improvements coming in 3.10. There's several large ships that I'm looking forward to as well, the Starliner being one of them, and of course the Javelin that we got to see during Fleet Week. I'm excited to see them round out combat a little more, make it so that the FPS isn't so stuttery, and we're kind of starting to feel like we're in the home stretch. Squadron 42 is supposed to come out soon, and with that we're going to get all the stuff that those developers have been working on, and things should really start to ramp up feature-wise and stability-wise as we get to the end of these next few stretches. And hopefully issues like what we're about to see here on Daymar don't happen. You can see I was trying to quantum jump to Daymar. This has happened to me a couple times, by the way. And I'm now several million kilometers away from my objective. Even though we saw it on the screen, it was there, it just disappeared. Star Citizen can be a lot of fun. It's still got plenty of bugs, and they are very infuriating when they do happen. But I've had a change of heart, and I am not as critical on Star Citizen as I was. I am having a ton of fun playing this game, and I hope to see you in the verse.
Quantum drive